Okay, we're going to talk about the Hebden Bridge Open Studios weekend, which we went to, or part of it. And as luck would have it, we had our Australian friends Dennis and Bettina staying. They were already in love with Hebden Bridge from the few days they'd already stayed, but they just fell in love with the Open Studios. Everybody was so open and friendly, and the art was amazing. We started from our house at Dodney's, then went to the Birchcliff Centre, where we saw Penny Hampson, who I used to know at Todd College. She worked there as an art teacher, and I used to take people from Royd Square, because I was a support worker for people with learning disabilities, and they did art classes there. So it was lovely to catch up with Penny and to see some of the work that she does. And the Birchcliff Centre itself is like a work of art. It's a maze of rooms, all on different levels, and you think you're going nowhere, then suddenly it opens up. Amazing. And
I've been there a few times. I've put gigs on there and everything, but I've never been down into the cellar before and discovered that the sense of pottery goes on in there.
I know, and when you come out of the cellar, it's not underground. It sort of comes out onto a different street from where you went in. But yeah, fantastic. And then, because we were at that end of town, down Valley Road, and then on to Northlight Gallery, took Dennis and Bettina round while you talked to the artists. And Bettina was very keen to go into someone's house. She was fascinated to see that some of the studios were people's homes. She said, I know it's voyeuristic, but I just want to go in one.
which we did.
Which we did, and she forgot the voyeurism bit and just fell in love with the art there.
Yes, well, more of that later. But yes, I talked to a few of the artists. Put my head into a couple of little studios, and I was amazed to realise the first four I went into were people I already knew from around and about. Generally, one I'd even worked with in the past, and one you'd worked with,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah, Toby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, there seemed to be a lot of common themes from the artists. Basically, their designs are very much based on what's around them, whether it's towns they visited, the local town, wildlife, the countryside, even clutter in people's houses. And you like Dan Myers?
I did, yeah. He's got quite an unusual style, which is to have a sort of background like a shadow of other things that have happened before, or that are, it could be landscape where there's now a building, and he draws both. But highly recommended. Dennis loved him.
Very good.
Well, his work. Yeah.
Should say before Dennis gets back onto us, he's not Australian.
Yes, friends from Australia who live in Australia. Bettina's Australian. Dennis is a Scouser.
Indeed. And I don't know. We'll have to find out if he's got an Australian sort of nationality. He probably has by now. He's been there for donkey's years, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is Australian as well.
Could be.
Anyway, that's beside the point. So I went into some studios and spoke to some of the artists. So tell us who you are and what you do here.
My name's Rachel Red, and I've got a studio at Northlights. We're at Northlights at the moment, and it's our open studios. So it's the time of year where we have a big studio tidy up, and people can actually walk into our studios and have a look at things.
So it's a lot tidier now than it was a few days ago.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I can see it, but the listener, should he or she exist, can't. So what sort of stuff do you do, Rach?
Well, I do a mixture of things, but I do quite a lot of things about wildlife and wild species, maybe in their natural habitats. And I really like to, sort of, in a design style, to like to simplify things to their sort of most basic form, because it's just enjoyable. And so I do lino prints and screen prints mainly. But then I also do screen prints about places. It's like a celebration of a place, so I'll either a place that I know or I'll sort of get more familiar with. I'll find out the sort of crucial elements of that place and make a design around them.
Yeah, and see, Scarborough. I think they're greetings cards.
Yeah, but they come from there's A3 screen prints. So I've got they start off as a screen print design. I'm going to print it all. And their editions are like 40, so it's a limited edition. But then I've just actually got new cards and notebooks made from those designs because, well, people like to have a little something or a card as well.
And it's quite like, the iconography is interesting as well. Scarborough Beach,
Yeah,
seagulls, the whale bones at Whitby, I can see
yeah.
as well. And what's that? Saltburn.
Saltburn with the I've actually just got the railway on that.
Right, I've been to Saltburn, but I didn't notice the railway, to be honest.
What is the funicular?
Oh, the funicular
up
one.
the cliff.
Oh, right, okay.
It's on the end of the pier, so it kind of leads down to the pier.
Yes.
It's where all the fun of the fair is, really.
Right, I just went to meet someone there and go to the pub.
Oh, right, so you probably didn't see that after.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of different artists in here. To be honest, it's the first time I've been into this studio.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
So, what other, what's other things go on
Well,
here?
there's a whole range of different practices. In fact, when people get studios it's quite nice to have a range, So we don't want all painters, all printmakers, or just so there are some painters, there's some ceramicists, people who get a studio and do bits and bobs, or there's some textile artists. So there's a whole range of things.
It is, well, I mean...
Some people make things to sell, and some people make just to do things, for their own creativity or something. So that there's a range of that as well.
Yes, I thought so. I mean,
Yeah.
Actually, with some friends who are over from Australia at the moment, and Bettina was saying, do they get grants for this? To which I said, I don't know, but I know some people in here are professionals. And
Yeah, well, some people, like myself, I like to set it up like a shop because that's how I make at least part of my living. But yeah, I guess if you've got another job or you're retired, you could have a studio for your own pleasure. It's not commercial.
Thanks, Rachel.
Oh,
I shall
thank you.
wander off and be nosy with somebody else in a moment.
Really nice to see you.
So, going to another little studio, and you are...
I'm Emma Hutchinson, and I kind of, on Instagram, I'm Red Mouse Design. Line drawing, very delicate, of nature and plants and all the nature and the countryside that's around us, just inspired by it all.
Yes, we're just looking at our lovely dog there.
Oh, I'm completely
So-
obsessed with dogs as well, so
I-
there's a lot
I'm
of dogs.
I'm sort of obsessed with... Viv thinks I'm a real nerd, because I get really sort of keen on what pen I use.
Oh, yes.
I used to be a draftsman.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
Used to be a
a long
draftsman?
time ago.
Oh, yes, I'm very
So,
keen on my pens.
What sort of pens are you
So these
using?
are Unipin, and I normally use a 0.2 fine liner, and sometimes I like doing in brown. I like brown ink a lot.
Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting. That's when it's technical drawing rather than sort of artistic stuff that you do. I'm like a 0.4 pen.
Oh, a 0.4. My
Better
my
for that kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
0.2 seems more appropriate for what you're doing.
Point two I really like working with. I found that I need to use 0.5 if I'm then turning my drawings into prints. So it just needs to be a bit thicker.
Yes. And do you... I'm being nosy now. Do you sell much?
I'm starting to, yeah. I'm getting there.
Yes, because they're quite reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working on, my next stage will be working on like cards and other things as well to sell, so tea towels and mugs, so watch out for those.
I've just outside, I think it's Jane, selling tea towels with maps on.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So, because we're moving from Edinbridge to Todmorden. And they've said, look, there's one ordnance survey of Todmorden. Yeah. So, it was right next to a sign saying, half price tea towels, £6.
Oh, great.
So I said, I'll buy
had
this
to-
for you.
Had to do it.
Plus it wasn't half
Yeah.
price, so...
Oh, that was a full price one. Well, you had to buy it then.
Yes, absolutely. That was really nice.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel around the corner saying she's got one of Hebden Bridge and uses it when she goes out for a walk. So I should be doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah. Although I don't think I'll be sort of, using it as a tea towel, not for £12.50.
It's a beautiful piece of art.
Yes, it is. So how long have you been here, Emma?
I've been here for maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
long?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we
I
both
love
worked
it.
in Bradford a
We
long
did.
time
We
ago.
worked at the university,
Yeah.
and now he gave all that up and followed my dream to be an artist and draw.
Yeah. Yes, I did the same thing. So to follow my dream of becoming a music agent,
Great.
which was fun.
Perfect.
Now I do very little, except
Good.
podcasts. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And good to see you again
Yes,
as
good to
well.
see
It's lovely
you.
to pop your head around the corner and see it was you.
Yeah.
So I've just wandered into another small studio, which looks a bit different from a couple of the others. So, do you mind telling us who you are and what you do here?
Sure, yeah, I'm Toby Cotterill, so I'm a jeweller and silversmith. So I'm inspired by insects, natural history, beetles, and so I put that together with love of making, really, and come up with these little articulated creations.
Yes. So, yes, rings, earrings, I can see. Are they brooches?
Yeah, and I've got some larger sort of one-off pieces out in the display cabinet out there as well.
Oh.
Which are, bigger sort of beetles, life-size scarab beetles.
Yeah.
And,
So, why insects?
grew up on a farm in West Wales.
Oh, whereabouts?
So it was near the coast, near Arbroath.
Ah, right.
So about halfway down on the coast. And I think, didn't have a TV, just spent all the childhood exploring outside, really. So it's definitely kind of forms and, images, memories that makes me, I think,
Yeah.
So personal.
Absolutely.
These kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I was brought up in sort of massive council estates in Liverpool. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not, it's different.
Insects were sort of seen differently.
Yes.
Seen as invaders of your home as
Yeah,
much as anything
yeah,
else. So,
yeah.
so it's interesting. I just want to say this is really what this podcast is about, how interesting people are in their different ways. So how long have you been in the studio here?
I've been in Northlight for 3 years. So I worked from home before that.
Yeah.
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 But I've been making for about 20 years. So,
And what got you from West Wales to Hebden Bridge and the Valley?
I gradually moved north, went to Stoke for university, and then lived in Manchester for a while. Knew people in Hebden, and we'd come and visit, and just loved it. And then we sort of had a choice about whether moving to Manchester city centre or, up here, and it was a no-brainer, especially because I used to live in the countryside.
It's the typical Hebden Bridge story, or Valley story. The more I talk to people for these podcasts, the more people say, "Well, we came once or twice. Some friends introduced us to it." That's how we got to be here. There was Manchester Polytechnic at the time,
Yeah.
and came for a residential weekend. I think to the Birchcliff Centre, and came home and said, "We need to move to Hebden Bridge."
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. And, sort of go fell running, so just explore. There's so much to explore around. And the history, the industrial side, the nature, the moors.
Yeah.
Because you can be on the tops in a mile.
Yes. Yes.
Not
Well,
far,
we're just moving down, up or down the valley. Can't remember. Must be up the valley to
It's up
Todmorden.
technically, but it feels like it's down.
Yeah. I won't tell the people at Todd you said that.
Well, it's not in that way, but
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah. So
that's up the hill, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Upper, but
Yeah.
this is upper,
Yeah.
technically.
But
'cause it's
the point is,
yeah,
it's
this
just
is down.
really looking forward to exploring the hills.
Oh, yeah.
The hills around there. It's right on the edge of the town, just where sort of buildings meet the countryside.
It's a good spot.
It is. It's a great
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
All right. Okay. I shall wander off and talk to other people. Thanks a lot, Toby.
Thanks a lot.
Good to see you again. I'm looking at Rue Waterhouse art, which seems to be very much based on books and Hebden Bridge. So, Rue, tell us what you do exactly.
Well, I mostly paint shelves of books. It started off, I paint with oil paints, and I was painting paintings of the clutter we collect around us in our houses, and thinking about how all the objects hold on to different parts of our story. And that led on to thinking about bookshelves and how every book on our bookshelves leads to a different part of our own life story. And I started painting shelves of books, and people asked me to paint them bespoke paintings of their most treasured books together on a shelf.
So you were getting
becoming
commissions to do that? Oh.
So they become shelf portraits.
Right.
So you can see people's lives unfolding across the canvas, and it's a fabulous thing to do. I love my job.
You've got me thinking now. Because we're about to move from Hebden to Todmorden.
Oh yeah.
And to a smaller place. So I might have to get rid of some books. I've got this whole bookcase full of biographies and autobiographies of musicians. Would you believe?
Oh wow, that would make a good shelf portrait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be interesting.
So I might have a think about that before we actually move.
Yeah,
Come back and talk to you about that.
Yeah, I'd certainly be interested in coming and photographing them anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'd certainly
For
do
future
that.
inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm always,
you can definitely do that anyway.
I'm always inviting myself around to people's houses who sound like they have interesting book collections. And,
Oh, well, before we go, I'll leave you my phone number.
yeah.
I'm sure we're going to have to get rid of some. We've already started discussing. I've already said, no, Viv, we're not getting rid of all those.
Yeah.
And she just gave me a look, which meant we probably will. Yeah. No, right, and I've seen some of yours very much Hebden Bridge based. I think there's
I did do a
outside.
collaboration with the bookcase on Market Street.
That's where I've
We
seen
set
it,
up a shelf together that had Hebden Bridge authors and Hebden Bridge, some other, themed walking, cycling, those sort of themes,
Yeah.
and build up a Hebden Bridge shelf. And one of the books is the Valley of 100 Chapels.
Oh, right.
And we were thinking as we built up the shelf that Hebden Bridge is no longer the Valley of 100 Chapels, it's now the Valley of 100 Authors.
yes, it does seem to be.
So
Well, there's still,
painting was celebrated.
yeah, actually the friends we've got staying with us at the moment are just astonished at how many former Baptist chapels there are around
Oh, right,
the town.
yeah.
Is it just, just walked past two and we haven't even got down into the town centre yet. Yeah, so that's a really good idea. There are people here. I'll let you try and sell them stuff.
Thank you very much. Nice to talk with you.
Thanks, Rue. Having looked around Northlight, we went out into, what was at that point? Great sunshine, although it's a bit of a mixed weekend weather-wise, wasn't it?
There were some people singing underneath Northlight when I was at the Maker's Mill. The stairs going up, and there was people singing and playing instruments at the bottom. And at first I thought, oh God, lucky they're there because it's pouring down. But then it was bright sunshine.
Yes, one of those things. Anyway, just across the road, we saw a sort of open studio sign outside a house, and lo and behold, it was Rebecca Fossard's house. So we went in, said hello to her, and noticed that she did these amazing images, mainly blue, with white silhouettes of flowers, I think, mostly, wasn't it?
Yeah, she makes them in the dark. It was all a very strange procedure, but fascinating.
Yes. So anyway, we had a chat with Rebecca. First of all, this is her explaining what the process is. It's called cyanotype. And so here she is, Rebecca.
So the cyanotype process is a very sort of primitive form of photography. You mix together potassium ferricyanide and ferric ammonium citrate, and then you coat that mix onto watercolour paper in the dark. Can't have any UV light on it because it's a light sensitive solution, and you coat the paper in the shape of the blue that you want as the contrast to the areas you're going to cover up. You let it dry in the dark, you store it in the dark, you take your botanicals or whatever you want to make the contrast with and place them over the top of the coated paper in the dark, and use bulldog clips and a piece of glass to hold all of that in place. Bring it to the sunlight, expose it in the sunlight, usually 5 minutes is enough on a bright summer's day, and take it back down to the dark, deconstruct it so you've just got your paper, and you wash it in cold water, and that fixes the chemicals, so it brings the blues into being and puts the white contrast there for everything that's been covered up by the plants. The washing process is about 15 minutes, but all the magic happens in the first minute in terms of the colour reversal.
And what are you washing them in?
Water. So you can do a magic trick and you can put peroxide in for it to ping and change colour more rapidly, but I like to do it as organically as possible, so I don't like to put stuff down the drain that's too... So I other people use light boxes. I only use it on a sunny day. Other people might put chemicals in the processing to make the blue ping more or to make it happen faster. And I like to just know that there's so little chemicals in the water after the washing, what I'm putting down the drain's not impacting, you know. Do you know Lizzie Lockhart?
Yes, I do. She's got a place in the egg factory, hasn't she? Or she used to have.
Yeah. So last year, Hebden Bridge Arts, which is what I work for now. Yeah. Have a flyer.
All right. Thank you.
Hebden Bridge Arts ran a kids' workshop where the kids went, foraged things, took photographs, and the things they foraged they made cyanotypes from. My little lad went, and he was 7 at the time, and I watched from afar and I thought, I bet I could learn how to do that. He really enjoyed the process. Lizzie was brilliant. She really got the best out of the children. Yeah. And she did the magic stuff in the garden where she plopped the peroxide in the water and it really pinged. And
kids would like that.
Yes, it was literally the magic of it was white and blue paper. She was using ready-made paper that she'd bought for ease. That's quite thin, almost like tissue paper. And she said to me afterwards, she said, if I was doing this with adults, I'd probably teach them how to make the mix and how to paint it on. That was last April, 2022, and the thought sat there. And after Christmas, when I was making my New Year's resolutions, I was like, I started making the necklaces last year.
Yeah.
And this year in January, I thought, I'm going to work that out for myself. I'm going to see if I can do that. And the ones in January and February were a bit rubbish. They're over there, they're really cheap. And then as the sun got brighter and I got better. And then I did a couple of craft markets last month and I had some cards printed for that. So there's reproduction cards that are kind of, more affordable on the bookshelf here. Anything with a brown envelope is a copy.
Yeah.
And anything else anywhere in the room is original.
But it's amazing that you only found out how to do it last April, and here we are.
And I only tried doing it really in sort of 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then I found it very addictive because I can do all the prep after the kids have gone to bed. I have to do all the prep in the dark, and then before the kids get up, everything's dried enough for me to pack it away before the sunlight creeps into the cellar a little bit because we've got air bricks.
Yeah.
And then it's the kind of thing you can do with an hour. I can do a couple of prints in an hour. So it's one of those things that when I was working at home, if I'd decided I was having a lunch break, I'd be like, great, what? And I'd cut some geranium, so sometimes I use fresh flowers, but more often I try and find things and press them, which takes 2 to 3 weeks. But occasionally I've done like clematis, and I've just cut it out of my garden, or the geranium, or the weeds. I've done, dandelions.
There's no shortage of weeds around and about.
I love it.
Yeah. And is that, it looks like honesty.
It's honesty.
Is it?
So I did a Christmas wreath last year that I put lots of honesty in, and it's the honesty that I've not thrown away from the Christmas wreath.
Kind of see-through,
I'll show you
see-through pods. We used to have it in the garden. It's really distinctive.
Yeah. So this is just a loose. It's not a proper filing system. Some of them I can have overlapping because they are dried, and others I have to have on separate pages so that they're. So I've got a couple of these albums that I've got flowers in. Some of them don't wear very well, and after you've done a few goes with them, you've to get rid. I've got some heather.
Yeah, because honesty, it's almost like paper, isn't it? The plant itself.
Yeah, it's the translucency is what makes it so interesting to use. Yeah, and then in here I've got some plants I don't even know the names of because I'm not botanically trained. These are from walks.
But it's nice how it all overlaps, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's lovely.
That's gorgeous.
And some of them. One? Yes, that is exactly that one. Yeah. And they're quite fragile, so you won't get.
Would you like to sell us this one?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh yeah, God, we've
Thank
got
you.
a sale.
Would you like a bag? Thank you very much.
Oh, I think a bag.
You would, yeah? Sure, let me go and find the right size one.
There you go. We'll go outside and see if we can drag somebody else in to buy more stuff from you. So that was just a very, very brief introduction to art in Calder Valley, Happy Valley, as we like to call it. And we only visited, was it about 3 out of 86 studios and venues?
Yeah, there were a lot more the other end of the other end of town. But yes, it was amazing.
Yes, and it's not difficult to find art in the Calder Valley.
No, all year round. I mean, this just happened to be the open studios, but all year round there's art to be found.
Absolutely. And if you look on our Facebook page, Real Voices of Happy Valley, you will see some of the websites of some of the people we've spoken to and Northlight Studios, and perhaps we'll throw in one or two more. And it is worth saying that Rebecca Fossard is such an interesting character. I think we'll try and catch up with her and have a more detailed chat with her.
Yeah. We used to know her when did she manage the Picture House?
She did, she did.
That's a long time ago.
She's quite an important part of the arts scene. More of her in the future. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast. So this is Dave.
And Viv.
Saying goodbye, speak soon.
Yeah, see you soon.